Are you wondering if it's possible to find an English-speaking job in Germany? Short answer, it is. However, there are some caveats, so stick around if you want to find out more. Hey, I'm Jen from simplegermany.com, where we help expats settle into life in Germany more smoothly. If you want to make your life in Germany easier, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever we release new content. So, without further ado, as I mentioned, yes, it is possible to find English-speaking jobs in Germany. I have 7 tips for you. Actually, in Germany, you would do this. I have 7 tips for you that will help you find English-speaking jobs in Germany. The first one is set your expectations right. What do I mean by this? So, according to the German Federal Agency of Employment, glad I remember that one, over 12% of Germany's workforce is actually foreign. Some experts claim that only 3% of the jobs in the German market are 100% in English. If you're looking for jobs in portals like LinkedIn, Indeed, or even Monster, you might find that there's a lot of job listings that are in English. However, when you look closer in the requirements, you will see this phrase that is like German's language skills required. So what gives? So just because you find a job listed in English, it doesn't necessarily mean that the job is going to be in English. So what kind of jobs are in English, or who has the higher chance of finding these English-speaking jobs? So I can only answer by my personal experience and the experience of my expat friends, because unfortunately there's no data out there to help us provide a better answer. So from my experience, anyone who is into the tech industry or digital departments are the ones that have the higher chance. If you have a job that requires you to have to deal with some German laws, then the chances are that you will need to speak German, at least B2 proficiency. So what do I mean by that? Those jobs are, for example, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be into HR, a lawyer, a doctor, a consultant, those will require you to speak German. As an example, I have a Mexican friend. She speaks both Spanish and English very fluently. She applied for a startup in Berlin, whose company's language is 100% in English. I actually think the majority of their workforce are expats. So one of the interviews was 100% in German. Why, you may wonder? Well, the thing is that in her department, they need to deal a lot with German laws, to deal with contracts, renewing contracts, and so on. So for that, she needs to know the German language, although the company language is in English. So all the communication is in English, dealing with colleagues is in English, meetings are in English, but there comes the caveat. If she really wants to do her job well, she needs to know German to be able to understand the German laws. So now that we set the expectations straight, let's look at tip number 2. So you have to look for jobs in the right place. Again, we established that if you're into the tech industry or in the digital world, your chances are a lot higher. So where can you find these jobs? There's a lot of websites out there. I will recommend a few, which one of them is englishjobs.de. Also, Jobs in Germany is very good. Honeypot, which is 100% for developers. Angel.co, which is mainly focused on startups. As well, there's another one called Germany Startup Jobs and Berlin Startup Jobs. Also, if you have a very strong LinkedIn profile, chances are that maybe some recruiters come and knock on your door. Also, LinkedIn is a very, very good resource to finding jobs that are maybe not in any other portal out there. So make sure to also search for jobs in LinkedIn. Another couple of websites that I can provide is actually Monster, Stepstone, and Indeed. Actually, the very first job that I got in Germany, which was 100% in English, I got it through Monster. So this goes to tip number 3. You have to search for jobs in the right industry. So usually startups are the ones that are a little bit more innovative, and they're the ones that are more open to hiring people that only speak German. Also mainly because startups have to do again with the tech industry, or they are very digitalized, they're more open to hiring expats. Germany is actually motivating Germans and international people to open companies. So just to give you a rough estimation, according to the German Startup Monitor, 1,933 startups were created in 2019. They employed over 24,000 people in Germany. So now we settled that startups are probably your better chance. Tip number 4, choose bigger cities. So obviously startups are going to be based on bigger cities just because the network and the amount of opportunities are just going to be bigger there. The number 1 city for that is Berlin. Berlin, I think it's known in Germany to be the capital of startups. Also, Munich has a lot to do with tech. Actually, the headquarters of Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are based in Munich, so that might also be a really good choice. However, keep in mind, Munich is the most expensive city to live in Germany. So if you're looking for a job there, make sure your salary is really good to be able to cover your life expenses. Another big city is Frankfurt. Frankfurt is actually known as the banking capital of Germany. So if you're into the banking sector, chances are that you will be able to find an English-speaking job regarding to banking into that. Again, banking, I think it has to do a lot with the digital department or a banking company that is very progressive, or it's a startup into banking. Another good city is Hamburg. Hamburg has also tons of startups there. The industries in Hamburg are actually renewable energy, sports, and aviation. We actually have a friend who recently got a new job in Hamburg, and she will work for a software company that provides software to gyms. And guess what? The official language of this company is English. And actually this friend is German, so there you go. And last but not least, Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf actually is the headquarters of one of the biggest companies that hire English-speaking people called Trivago. I read somewhere that Trivago receives per month more than 40,000 job applications. That is really crazy. So tip number 5, look for jobs in the digital department. So not just because a company is only in German and their language is only German, does it mean that all the departments actually speak German. From experience, I can tell you that I have found 2 jobs in companies whose main language is German, but in the digital department, the language is actually English. Because in the digital department, they have found that they need expats to fulfill the jobs. These could be for developers, product managers, quality assurance. So don't be shy. If you find a company that has a really strong digital department, send your application in English. Chances are that you will actually get an interview just because, again, as I mentioned, they're searching for people in this department and there's not just enough people to fulfill all these jobs. Tip number 6, adapt your CV to German standards. It's not rocket science, however, you need to have a strong CV to be able to apply for these jobs. Chances are that even though you're applying to an English-speaking company, the person receiving your CV is going to be a German person. So you need to give a first impression. Don't worry though, we got you covered. We have a whole video explaining how a German CV should look like. You can find that video up here. The last tip is for you to apply. I cannot stress this enough. It's a numbers game. You need to apply a lot to be able to receive at least some answers. Don't be shy in applying. I can tell you from personal experience, I have applied for some jobs 100 times or more. And out of those 100 applications, I received maybe 5 or 10 responses. So again, apply. Now let me share with you a little bit of my personal experience. I've been living in Germany since 2012, and ever since then I've had 4 jobs and they've all been in English. So how did I manage that? My very first job was in an e-commerce company doing customer service for the Spanish market. Yes, the job itself was in Spanish, however, the company language was English. So I had to deal with meetings and emails and everything was all in English. The second job I had, however, was in a German company. The job was still in English though. So how did I manage that? Well, I have to be very honest. I changed careers in 2015 where I started to learn software development. So my very first job that I got as a software developer was in 2016. And this was in a media agency. The media agency and everything around it was in German. However, their digital department, the one that took care of creating websites for customers, was in English. So I have to be very honest. I applied for at least 100 jobs in software development before I got this one. That's why I'm telling you, be persistent and apply. The funny thing is that this media agency was just 2 minutes away from my house. It was really around the corner. And I had never wanted to apply there because when I looked at their website, it was all in German. And I'm like, what am I going to do there? I don't speak German good enough to be able to handle meetings or conversations with people that have to do with technology in such a high level. But anyways, I sent the application. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Funny enough, they replied in English and they told me that their digital department was hiring and it was all in English. So that was a really nice surprise. The third job that I had was also in software development, and that was in a very big German company. So big that here in Düsseldorf they hire over 5,000 people and everything is in German. However, again, the digital department is in English. This is because a lot of the people that are hired there are very high-skilled workers that come from multiple parts of the world. I had teammates who were from Egypt, Albania, South Africa, Mexico. I'm from Guatemala. And pretty much all over the place. Not everywhere was a software developer though. Also in a digital department, you can find jobs in quality assurance, product management, business analysis, and pretty much anything that has to do with bringing a project to life in the digital world. Now, my fourth job that I'm currently in is actually, guess what? In a startup. Yeah, again, it's a digital and a tech industry. In this startup, I have also very international coworkers, from German, obviously, as well, to Indian, again Egyptian, and again me, I'm the only Guatemalan usually in companies. However, I have a friend who didn't have it so easy. He was also working with me in this e-commerce company, the very first job that I had as a customer service, and he was also there as customer service representative. And he searched for jobs for I think over a year in Germany and was not very successful. This again had to do with the industry and customer service, because obviously you have to deal with customers. Most of them required a very high level of German. Some of the customer service jobs don't even allow you to have less than a C1, which is pretty much a native level of German. And that's pretty tough to achieve, I think. So what happened with him? He actually ended up moving back to the US, unfortunately. So I don't mean to say this to discourage you at all. I just want you to know your expectations and know exactly where to look. Who knows, your next English-speaking job might be around the corner. So be persistent and apply, apply, and apply. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like this kind of content. And yeah, the best of luck to you. Until next time, tschüss!